Let's take a look at some of the big VR games just announced for the Meta Quest 2. We're going to have to wait a little while longer for the next trip to the Spider-Verse. And I've got a new addition to my mini arcade. All that and the latest and everything cool today in the Rundown. Hey, welcome to the Rundown. My name is Victor Lucas, and we've got a great episode for you, and I'm so happy that you've joined me here in the Electric Playground. Today's episode is dedicated to the one and only Blade Blur, who had this to say about No Way Home. I love that No Way Home redemption arc. It isn't a flawless movie, but boy, is it fun. He's talking, of course, about my re-review of No Way Home as I took a look at it on the 4K Blu-ray that Sony shot out to me. And yeah, this is a movie that I said yesterday, you can just keep watching it over and over again. I think actually there's a Guinness Book of World Record holder out there for have seen this movie consecutively or more times than any other movie in history, like 300 times or something. And it's kind of that good of a movie. It's loaded with so much stuff and so many cool characters and great cameos from actors that we love, like Jamie Foxx right there, that it is a movie that you can watch over and over again. And the redemption arc is wonderful. Great comment there, Blade Blur. Let's get going, though, with our rundown. We've got lots of VR news to dig into. The Meta Quest game showcase just took off, I think, yesterday. They showed off a whole bunch of different games. We had an executive producer, Ruth, pop up on stage, and the first game that we got to take a look at is The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Retribution. This is a terrific experience in VR. It runs actually quite well on the Oculus Quest 2 platform, where you're untethered, so you can kind of look around and get besieged by zombies. This is a game about going off and collecting all kinds of items and using them in a bunch of different ways to be able to take care of the zombie hordes that are coming your way. They've done an excellent job at creating that fear and that tension and that idea that you're being surrounded. Slow-moving zombies, for the most part, from right from the Walking Dead comic series and the television show series. But that scavenging kind of element in Walking Dead Retribution is awesome, and I think, or in Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, and I think Retribution is going to be a ton of fun. We've also got some sports action headed to the Quest 2 platform with NFL Pro Era, and you actually get on the field, as you would think and imagine when you're playing a VR game in VR. And so you've got all the teams, and you've got all of the stadiums and the players, and you can run offense or defense. Basically, it's Madden VR, which looks ridiculous, but also kind of fun. I don't know how this is going to play. Actually play when you're on the field. Maybe you're not really in control of everything like you would be in a Madden game, but it does look like a ton of fun. We've also got a massive indie title that is making its way to VR with Among Us. This is something that you could predict. It looks terrifying when you see these giant, beady-eyed, little beasties coming at you, and who is sus and who isn't. But it does look pretty damn cool, and it obviously inverts the whole kind of concept here. It's not such a cutesy, tablet-friendly experience when you're looking out through the helmet of one of these different space astronauts that's trying to save the ship or murder everybody. It does look pretty damn cool. Among Us is coming out later this year. Almost all of these games actually are coming out a little bit later this year, which is pretty cool. We also got a look at Red Matter 2, and I played a little bit of Red Matter. This is one of those experiential VR games where you've got a lot of puzzle solving to do, and there's a little bit of friction and combat elements, combat type scenarios, but really the emphasis on this experience is to try to solve the puzzles and to stay alive and to not get overrun by the environment or some of the other sort of creepy crawly types of things that might make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up a little bit. Red Matter 2 looks slick. The first game is very slick as well. I gotta admit, though, it didn't hold my attention for too long, the first game. So if this game starts getting a lot of rave reviews, if our buddy VR Grid is all over it and starts talking about how important the franchise is, I will definitely be checking this one out. But it does look damn cool, doesn't it? Another sequel, there's actually a whole range of sequels that are coming to the Quest 2, is Espire 2. I played a little bit of Espire, and it was cool. It's a kind of a stealthy action spy, kind of Metal Gear Solid-esque type of experience, all from the viewpoint of this hero that can hack into different things, and you've got weapons that you can take down enemies with as well. But it's a lot more about stealth and being sneaky and using the technologies around you and your cool abilities. And then you will get into gunfights as well. But this one looks good. Looks like a nice elevation on a lot of the elements and a lot of the game styles that were in the first Aspyr game. I'm looking forward to checking this one out for sure. And something that I've already checked out on PlayStation VR and had a fantastic time with is Moss 2, and I love what they did here with the little intro with Quill on the table talking to Ruth and just wanting to get into it and show off the trailer. Now, this is an absolutely outstanding VR experience where you play as the reader, as a participant in the game, and you are actually affecting what is going on, not just by controlling Quill, because you do, but also by using your head and your wits and some of your pushing and pulling abilities as the reader to interact with the world so that Quill can solve the puzzles and stuff. It's stunning. It's really well tuned and a beautiful experience. And I can't wait to play this untethered and to see if there have been any enhancements or any kinds of Quest 2 embellishments that make this game even more special. But as it stands, it's a must-play on PlayStation VR, and I suspect it's going to be a must-play on Quest 2, and that is coming out this summer. So can't wait for checking out Moss 2 again, or Moss Book 2 again. A JRPG that's headed our way that looks kind of cool and also very similar to a lot of JRPGs that we play on flat screen consoles out there. It's called Ruins Magus, and I don't really know too much about the game style here, but it certainly has a very cool anime style art or anime kind of art style to it. Some beautiful colors and lighting and interesting characters and interesting costumes on all of these characters. Looks like they're distilling a lot of the action RPG elements that we may find in a JRPG, but giving you a first-person viewpoint on all of it and throwing magic spells and dealing with all of your enemies that way. Looks pretty damn cool. I'm digging the style of this one for sure. Another game that seems like a perfect fit for VR, and we've seen this, I guess it's a franchise now, on a variety of different platforms, but it's coming to VR in the form of Cities VR, and this, of course, lifts off on Will Wright's classic SimCity experience and the idea that you can build towns and populate them and be the mayor and take care of all of the different things that townsfolk may want out of the city that they live in. This isn't based on SimCity. This is a whole separate brand and a whole separate kind of concept on the city building genre, but it's had a lot of success in flat screen form, and I think it's going to be quite fun to deal with the menus and then use the touch controllers that the Quest 2 has to kind of create your roads and your pipes and all that stuff. Looks really damn cool. Cities VR is also coming out pretty soon, and they're going to launch with the core game and then keep embellishing and adding all kinds of stuff post-launch, which is good to see. Something that is also offering stuff up post-launch is Resident Evil 4. They announced this already, but they've given us a little bit of a better look at the Mercenaries, which is the multiplayer component, where you can play as a bunch of different characters and you can get all kinds of new challenges. There's lots of different environments that you're going to be running through and rushing through. This is really about sort of leaning into the action of Resident Evil. It's a little bit less about survival, and just trying to, deal with the story component, the PvE elements. This is a lot more about just trying to rack up the score and get that kill count as high as you can. And that's a free update for anybody that's got Resident Evil 4. And then something else that was also introduced is Bone Lab, and this is based off of the Boneworks concept that has been a big part of the VR world for a long time. I think it launched on Steam initially, and it's a physics-based sandbox where all kinds of stuff you can manipulate and you can sort of get challenged with whatever the developers have kind of thrown at you, but it's really about sort of understanding the physics of the gameplay. It's going to be interesting to see if the Quest 2's got the horsepower to kind of live up to the Boneworks quality, because they've had a lot of time to iterate on that Boneworks, that core experience. But this looks fun. It looks a little bit like Portal and the sort of Boneworks physics-based puzzle solving that people know from that game. But it does look pretty slick, looks cool, and I know that people have been asking for this one for a very long time. And then something kind of special happened towards the end of the presentation. Mark Zuckerberg popped out because this is a big deal that this is happening, and basically introduced that the Ghostbusters are coming to VR. I think for the first time. There might have been some movie tie-in VR experiences, but I think this is going to be a much more fleshed out VR game where you can play in multiplayer and try to bust some ghosts, and you get all the gadgets that the Ghostbusters get, so the backpack and the weapons and the traps and all the cool toys that the Ghostbusters get, and you got to go off and zap the ghosts and then trap them and then bring them back. End Dreams is the developer here. They've been doing quite a bit of stuff in VR over the last little while. It does look cartoony, which I think is going to make a lot of fans of the classic Ghostbusters animated series quite happy. But there probably aren't that many movie franchises that are more perfectly suited to create a cool VR experience. I am looking forward to that. And they finished off the presentation with a little bit of sass here. I kind of dug this, that Ruth hops into the Ecto 1, says goodbye to the camera, and then drives off. I thought that was pretty damn rad. So, you know what? I'm a big fan of the Meta Quest. I still want to call it Oculus. Meta just feels so weird to call it that. I know they've changed their name. But I'm a big fan of the Quest 2, and if you've got one of those platforms, you've got a lot of fun things to look forward to this year. And I'll come back. I won't be able to review all of those titles, but I'll definitely come back with the biggies and let you know how these games are to play, especially Ghostbusters in VR. All right, let's stick with the movies now and move over to what Pixar has been cooking up. Pixar dropped a new trailer for Lightyear, which is coming out on June 17th of this year, and boy, this movie is looking like a ton of fun. The visuals and the fidelity of this trailer are breathtaking. You see the reflection of Buzz Lightyear on his helmet, and the animation and the sort of human kind of qualities in the faces is just outstanding. One of the things that was kind of represented in this trailer is we get a little bit more of the mystery surrounding this movie, because obviously this is based on the real character that the toy is based on, and Tim Allen voices the toy, Chris Evans voices Lightyear in human form. And apparently there's some time travel elements in the film, which will explain why some of the characters kind of change throughout the course of the trailer, but also why there might be a series based on the adventures of this character, and why there would be a toy based on this character that sounds different than this character. Anyways, the visual fidelity of leaping into space and going into this portal is just absolutely breathtaking. And then there's this robot cat just kills me all the time. There's a crash landing on a planet, and we're essentially going to go on this interstellar cross-time adventure with this really slick-looking astronaut character. It evokes a little Star Wars. There's definitely a huge sci-fi flavor to it. We're going to see some cool robots in here, and of course Zurg is going to make an appearance as well. We see here that Lightyear is starting to recognize that things have changed. He's come back, Little Planet of the Apes style, and things have changed. But yeah, it's a really nice setting. We get this interstellar base and all of these robots that are supposed to be on our side but aren't really all working for us. And we see some of the characters that we saw as younger people have aged a little bit. And then we see that there's going to be a tremendous amount of action in this game as well, or in this movie. It looks like a game, right? It looks like something that we should be playing pretty soon. And it's crazy that Pixar would release something like this and there isn't a tie-in AAA video game at the very same time, because this looks so playable, which is a little bit... a different step for Pixar, because recently they've really been leaning into a lot of arty, beautiful, soulful experiences. And it's not to say that this won't be one of those as well, but this looks much more straight ahead sci-fi action adventure, and I'm here for it. I can't wait. But it just looks like a beautiful, powerful sci-fi tale with a cute robot cat. And June 17th. Can't get here soon enough. I am very, very excited about this movie. Let me know what you think about Lightyear. Are you going to be one of those that ventures out to the theater to check this one out? Or are you going to wait till it comes out on home video? It's theaters only, unlike the previous few Pixar movies, which have launched day and date. Well, they've launched on Disney Plus. They haven't launched in the theaters. This one's in the theaters because there's a huge established audience for this character, this brand, for sure. Can't wait for Lightyear. Let me know what you think. And let's move on. We're going to talk a little bit about what's next for Halo. 343 has been busy the last few days, letting people know that Season 2 of Halo Infinite is coming up soon. May 3rd is when new content starts to drop. They showed off some maps, like this Catalyst map, which is a really, really beautiful environment. Definitely super high-tech and sleek, the Forerunner kind of vibe. Coursing through this. I like the waterfalls, giving us a sense of where we're going to be running around, murdering all of our buddies. I like all of this cool technology that's interspersed throughout this, the light bridges and all that stuff. They also showed off Breaker, which is much more brutal in its quality, a lot like it's a you can see like a forge sort of working overtime in the background, dropping just a deluge of lava or fire onto players. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of pushes into that mechanism, which is kind of cool. This looks a lot more primitive, a lot more brutal, and also beautiful, though. I mean, there's some really nice looking environment art in these, but I think what has caught people's attention even more than the new maps that we're going to be racing around in are the modes. A couple of them we've seen before. We've got a King of the Hill mode, which is going to be welcome, where we're going to be getting to specific spots and trying to hold them for as long as we can against our opponents. We've played King of the Hill on a million first-person shooters, but this is Halo-fied, and it looks pretty damn cool. There's also a kind of a flip on this where you're trying to get to specific areas and hold the land, so it's not everybody racing into one spot. There's a few different spots that everybody's racing around towards. Kind of a variation on King of the Hill, but I think the big thing, of course, is the last Spartan standing. All of the rumors and speculation about Halo Infinite are starting to become true. We all kind of thought that a Battle Royale mode was going to be headed our way in Halo, and this is it. It's not going to have the 100-person you versus 100 different people that we're getting out of Warzone or Fortnite or whatever. But it does look like a lot of fun. It's going to be cool to test all of this stuff out. And of course, Halo Infinite's multiplayer is all free to play. So I imagine that this is going to be a good way to kind of kickstart people getting reattached to the game, because I know a lot of people have been leaving and trying out other multiplayer stuff out there. But fingers crossed, these are all fun to play, and that they feel satisfying for those that have been waiting for the next iteration of content from 343. They've been taking their time. They did launch with a hell of a lot of stuff with the campaign and the multiplayer, but it hasn't been that cadence that I think a lot of multiplayer fans have expected and anticipated when you look at other big brands like Apex Legends out there. But I'll be playing for sure. Can't wait to check out that last Spartan standing in Halo Infinite. Okay, I've got a couple quick things that I want to tell you guys about, but first, I've got an unboxing for something that just came in. Hey guys, it's a pretty fun day in the Electric Playground. I've got a new package from our friends at Replicade, and this is for a game that I have been dying to receive in my little mini arcade collection. So let's open this baby up right now. This is sort of the shipping box on the outside, but everything is always so sleek with the way that Replicade brings out their stuff. So here is the box within the box, and I think you can tell what game it is right there. It is Q*bert. This is one of my favorite old classic arcade experiences. It was kind of one of those games where it ages, but it's still super fun to play. And of course, there's been different versions of Q*bert over the years, but this is based on the old classic Q*bert game. Here is the Q*bert box inside of the packaging, and I'll keep all of this packaging because it's all so stylish. Okay, so I'm going to take this box. I'll put this over here, actually. So it's kind of out of the way. Let me close that down. So there we go. And so here we go. We've got the box right here. All kinds of beautiful details and the cabinet artwork on either side. Okay, let's open this up. We're going to try to not damage the packaging in any way, because this is as much a part of the collector's experience with these Replicades has the actual mini arcade cabinet themselves. It's a limited edition 12-inch scale, so it's perfect for your 12-inch action figures if you've got any of those kicking around. But one of the cool things that Replicade has been doing recently is you can actually plug this in and you can play it on a television set as well. We've got real arcade action with fully functional knocker, and it plays 2 arcade games. That's great, okay. Comes with an instruction manual, which is probably based on a lot of the old arcade instruction paraphernalia that they would have given out to arcade operators, which is amazing. So the Q*bert manual. And there's also extra stickers. Oh, little rubber stoppers for the bottom of the, so there's a game over sticker. I don't know where that goes. Tiny little stickers there. And I love this too. You get little tokens, little arcade tokens for, in an imaginary sense, popping it into the cabinet itself. Let's take the cabinet out itself right there. Okay, so here's the USB cable. Super handy and important. This keeps the machine all charged up. And of course, this is going to go into the background of the Electric Playground basement set. All right, so let's take this out right now. Just make sure that there is nothing on the bottom of the box. So you get the foam insert that the cabinet goes into. Everything is nicely protected. There's little inserts to protect the controller. I am one of those collectors that actually likes to see the cabinet and use the cabinet. So I'm going to be putting these materials back in the box. Oh, and I'll need this plastic wrapping around the cabinet. There it is. Look at that. That is awesome. Oh, I see you can put a game over sticker on the side here. So I guess what they did is they must have modeled it off of specific cabinets, because obviously these things were slightly different depending on what arcade you would go to and what arcade you would visit. Different scratches and different elements there. Okay, so here is the cabinet itself. It's probably got a little bit of a charge on it, so we'll turn it on and we will see how this is all operating. There's some plastic sort of protection here. I love it, man. You've got the Q*bert swearing marquee over the arcade cabinet and the little joystick. This is a very simplistic game. It's very straightforward, but it's also very challenging and absolutely addictive. Let's turn it on. Let's see what kinds of stuff lights up. Hopefully it does have a little bit of a charge. On the back, you can see they've locked it up so thieves can't get in and get all the mini quarters, which is adorable. And there's an HDMI out right there, which is incredibly important. Hopefully you can see that okay. And then a couple of USB inputs there, so you can stick in an extra controller if you want to. So we've got Q*bert lighting up right there. The cabinet is lighting up. The marquee is lighting up. Q*bert's talking to us. This is amazing. What an incredible little cabinet. I love it. It's so beautiful. It's so cool. So you have to stand back on this one a little bit, because the marquee step is, there we go, level 1. Yeah, I'm out already. The controller feels quite tough, actually. It feels quite robust, like it's going to take a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't be ranking on it. Oh, it's got the little knocker on it, too. This is incredible. I love it. And I will absolutely stream a little bit of this, too, because it's got the HDMI out. So it's so cool that you can play this absolute classic arcade experience. Thank you so much for this Q*bert cabinet, New Wave Toys, and the folks over at Replicade. You're doing some fantastic work, and this is a wonderful addition to my mini arcade. Such a cool mini arcade machine. It's sitting right there, actually. It's right there. I stealthily put it back in there. So I had to move the, I am running out of space. Guys, we need this freaking pandemic to be over so I can get out of the basement. But it is an amazing mini arcade. Probably, it's up there with one of my favorite of those games, because I've got Tempest right beside it, and I love Tempest. The Dragon's Lair, I think, is the most impressive of Replicade's mini arcades, because it comes with a little laser disc. But the 1942 and 43 machines are great, and the Street Fighter 2 machine is awesome. They come with little extra controllers. They do such good work. They're so cool, and I certainly appreciate them. Okay, we've got more things to talk about. Let's talk about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It looks like we're going to have to wait In fact, I know we're going to have to wait. Sony has announced that they have pushed back the release date for Part 1 of Across the Spider-Verse, because there is a Part 2. It's coming out in summer of 2023 now. These dates sound like Star Trek dates, I know. It just sounds like so far into the future. And Part 2 is going to be coming out in 2024. But you know, we're halfway through 2012, well, not quite halfway, but we're like deep into 2022. We're talking about these movies that are coming out in summer of 2022, like Lightyear, and that's just like a month and a half away. So I know it sounds like forever until this movie comes out, and I freaking adore. In fact, the first Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is my favorite Spider-Man movie. I love it. I was absolutely blown away by the emotional impact of the film and the beauty of the film, and just all of these different tangents and the visual kind of, I don't know, sumptuousness of that movie just blew me away, and I cannot wait to see what they do with the sequel, because obviously they learned a lot on the first one, and the characters have opened up quite a bit. We got to meet Oscar Isaac's Spider-Man 2099 at the end. Spoiler if you haven't seen the first one, but we got a little taste of what's to come, and so I think that there's a lot that they can do, and probably they're going to introduce a whole bunch of new Spider characters that we've never even considered before, because that's what the filmmakers love to do, is surprise us. And one of the things that I think we can kind of expect is maybe seeing some of the movie Spider-Man, like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and some of those characters might be making cameos. You know, we might be seeing some of those actors taking on an animated form. But the sort of visual stylings of this movie, of this series now, is just breathtaking. You know, they'll go from stuff that looks like 4-color comic panels, even look at this is just teaser stuff right here, kind of hinting at what is to come, but it looks like we're looking at sketch art, like early rough stuff for a comic, and then they've fully animated 3D character throughout all of it, and it's just, that sort of constant change and evolution and sort of shaking our heads up with all of this beautiful art. It's insane. I cannot wait to see what they do with this thing, but we're going to have to. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse comes out in 2023. I'm ready to line up for that movie right now. Something else that's going to be headed to movie screens in the not-too-distant future is It Takes Two. Dwayne Johnson from $7 Productions, you may know him as The Rock, or one of the biggest movie stars on Earth, has agreed to become a producer in It Takes Two. I don't know if he's going to be one of the characters in this thing, or how they're going to kind of frame it, if it's going to be live action fused with CG. I would imagine it would be. But, you know, It Takes Two is an award-winning, incredible action-adventure platformer where the whole idea is it's a married couple that are slowly starting to separate and divorce, having to work together because they're entreated by this book of love to solve all the puzzles and the challenges that are before them. And they've become these two little clay toys that this little girl who's caught in the middle of this divorce creates and manifests, and hopes for, in all of her wildest imaginings, that her parents will get back together again. And through the course of the game, they kind of rediscover their dependence on each other and their need to be together. And there's some bittersweet elements to it, and some really interesting emotional stuff that gets thumped maybe a little bit too hard within the game, but it certainly gives the filmmakers a delicious platform to build something really, really cool here. You know, visual stimulation up the wazoo, and some interesting locations, and creating these toy-type characters and putting them in these oversized worlds could be amazing. It just has to be handled right, and like we've seen with Sonic the Hedgehog, has to be really true to the source material. So let's keep our fingers crossed, but It Takes Two looks like it's headed to the big screen. What a world we live in, where our favorite video games become movies several years down the line like that. It's crazy. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for the rundown today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting our channels, twitch.tv/EPN for our live stuff, including live rundowns, and youtube.com/EPNTV for all of our edited work. You guys are fantastic. I really appreciate your subscriptions and your follows, and thank you so much for being here. We'll see you soon, and until then, play forever.